This is getting interesting, folks. Episode 6 of WandaVision spoilers coming your way pretty soon, so let's go ahead and prepare to talk about this thing because, oh gosh, two things in particular that happened in this episode. Oh my. Okay, so the first thing interesting about this episode that I want to highlight is the setting. And obviously, okay, so each episode up until now has been skipping forward a decade, kind of like the X-Men prequel movies. And, you know, we had 50s, 60s, 70s, and then there was like a late 80s, early 90s type thing that was going on. It was like a Roseanne type of vibe with episode 5, which I was like, okay, I kind of see what you're going for. But I was really excited for the specifically 90s episode. And we didn't get it. It skipped to the early 2000s. It became Malcolm in the Middle, which I love Malcolm in the Middle to death. So as soon as I saw the opening, the intro for this episode, I was like, that's Malcolm in the Middle. And then, please, Billy was kind of narrating the same way that Malcolm would in that show. So I was like, okay, this is definitely supposed to be Malcolm in the Middle. And I liked it. I really liked it. I like that they did that with that. You know what? We're talking about things that are different in every episode. Let's talk about the commercial real quick before we get into the plot things. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Yo Magic, the snack for survivors. What are you talking about? So it's Halloween, right? And Wanda is dressed like Scarlet Witch used to do, and Vision is dressed like Vision used to do. But there's a Sokovian fortune teller, rather, and a luchador. You know, it's cool. The MCU does that kind of thing sometimes. It's like, let's put them in this ridiculous 1970s costume that they used to have. And they do the same thing with Quicksilver. On the topic of Quicksilver, right? There was a lot of back and forth on the internet about whether or not this was actually Pietro Maximoff or was this Peter Maximoff from the X-Men universe. Was it even Quicksilver at all? Was it Mephisto messing with Wanda? There seems to be a little bit of both of those going on. Like, he has memories of being a kid with Wanda, but according to Wanda, those memories are askew. So there seems to be some sort of external manipulation, but he also remembers getting shot in the street, like the Aaron Taylor Johnson Quicksilver did, probably by Ultron. So it seems to still be the MCU version of the character. Now, I don't know if there were scheduling concerns with Aaron's contract with like Aaron's career or something like that. Maybe he was busy and couldn't come to do this show. I don't know. But it really does seem like they just kind of got Evan because he was available maybe in between seasons of American Horror Story, and they're just working things around him. In my mind, when I'm watching the show, it just does not seem to be that he was meant to be Evan Peters because it's not playing a big enough part. It's like, oh, I know I look different. Why do you look different? I don't know. You know, it's like, it just doesn't seem like it was something that they came up with in the conceptual stages of the show. Now, another character that people have been very curious about, Agnes. People have been thinking she's Agatha Harkness, a servant of Mephisto, so they would bring Mephisto into the show. That doesn't seem to be the case. Agnes doesn't present herself to be manipulating anything in this episode. When she gets her personality unsuppressed by Vision, she's just as scared and feeling hopeless as Norm was in the last episode. But she knows who Vision is, and she asks him why, you know, he's not dead, which is an interesting thing. And Vision's like, I'm dead? So he goes outside the boundary, which is beyond Ellis Street. And it's funny because Wanda tells the kids not to go past Ellis Street because if you do, you'll hit invisible walls. If that is Quicksilver, then somebody, maybe Wanda, is puppeting Quicksilver's dead body. But I feel like he would be Bones at this point. And it was interesting, right? Because this changes things. Because previously, when she saw Vision's dead body, and I think it was episode 4, and he's like, oh, what's wrong, Wanda? I thought that was her losing her grip on keeping things under control so she couldn't make Vision look alive anymore. But she wasn't prepared for Quicksilver to even be here. She did not know Pietro was going to be on the show because in her mind, Pietro has been dead for, 8 years? So to see zombie Quicksilver obviously she's not losing control over him, in the sense that she would have lost control over Vision when her reality got shook about Pietro, right? So there has to be something external that's making her see her loved ones, but, you know, in their deader forms. I was hoping, though, that if we were going to see Zombie Quicksilver, that it would be Aaron Taylor Johnson, but again, he might not have been available. Although there's a reference to him because they say something about Kick-Ass, and Wanda's like, Kick-Ass, and I'm like, Aaron Taylor Johnson is in a movie called Kick-Ass. Yes, that is correct. That is a thing that happened. Furthermore, on the topic of Quicksilver, though, I liked his dynamic of being like the cool uncle type of character, because, you know, that's just a cool type of, like Uncle Jesse from Full House type of character, you know what I mean? But I will admit, I spent longer than I probably should have being distracted from the story, trying to figure out what Quicksilver he is. I'm like, does he have MCU memories or X-Men memories? Because, let's be honest, the X-Men movies have a strange timeline. Quicksilver was introduced as like an early 20s-something in the 1970s and Days of Future Past, and then you skip to 1983, and he looks the same, and then you skip to 1991, and he looks the same. And WandaVision takes place in 2023, I think. Why would he look the same from 1975 to 2023? He'd be 75 years old by that point. I don't understand why the X-Men movies do this, because if it weren't for the fact that they did this, we wouldn't have this conversation in the first place, because Quicksilver would look the age he's supposed to look. But I think we could all agree that he's an agent planted there by something or someone, right? Because he's kind of antagonistic. He's like, hey Wanda, you know, nice job with the fake reality. How'd you do that one? You know, that sort of thing. And then when Vision tries to break out of the boundary and starts falling apart right before your very fucking eyes, he's like, oh, it's not like your dead husband could die again. And Wanda just blasts him. And I'm like, okay. So things between those two are going to be different next week. Also, Wanda shut all the shit down. She shut down production and just expanded the hex, because it's like, I don't know where Vision is, but he's outside, there's soldiers, and he's falling apart. I need to expand this shit as far as possible so that he doesn't die again. I like that. I need me somebody like that. I need you to bend reality to keep me safe. I need you to love me that much. I'm getting so distracted this review. I don't know why. I want them to do like modern sitcom type beat, like a Blackish or a Modern Family or whatever. So I legitimately think that they're done with the show inside the show. And I think we're just going to be focusing on the real shit that's going on for the next few episodes, because honestly, I don't think there's enough time left to keep bouncing between the situations. So I think they're going to hunker down, keep us on what's going on in the real world, and that's where we're gonna go. But WandaVision, episode 6 out of 8, so we're pretty much done here. Did you watch with your eyes? Click like and subscribe, buy my t-shirts. I'll see you next time.